scouted by TSM, and it's gone.
It seems that the TheOddOne is being kept awake. Maybe not the usual gamer hours that he's used to, but the bans are coming through. There is the Zed, a bit of a respect ban being taken away from Reginald after game 1.
And I wonder if Corki's going to get through here. TSM has definitely considered first picking Corki if it comes through. OMG obviously saw that first game, but they're banning out the other threats on TSM right now. Top champion from Reginald, Zed, gone. Top champion from Dyrus, Shen, the double ninja's gone. And Corki's available.
Well, Orianna also taken away from Cool and Renekton. You talked about this earlier on when we saw MBS picking it. These are the teams that have been using Renekton in that top lane quite prolifically. Thresh being taken away. Corki is available for first pick for TSM.
And the Renekton was a pick or ban in almost all of the Chinese final games.
Well, there is Sona, the first pick. That's what they've gone with. That's what Xpecial wanted. No fiddlesticks this time around, and it seems that they may have done their research because Caitlyn and Ahri have been locked in for OMG.
Especially with the Zed ban here and Reginald's poor performance on Fizz at the regionals, having Ahri available and then first picking Sona instead, this could be a big Pomelo thing. There's not that much scouting on him because Koma played Sona for most of, or almost all of OMG's games at the finals, and now he's coming in with a different support. It's something that we don't know too much about. Big Pomelo was the support for OMG for most of the season. He actually used to be the team's jungler at a time and then moved to support. But TSM in the past has put so much priority on that first pick Sona. It's not that surprising, but they did give up a lot.
Well, it's definitely put decisions on them. The fact that TSM have completely slowed down their picks and bans. Looks like Corki will be selected here. We're seeing him hovered over right now, but it definitely seems to have caught them out, and you can see they're discussing exactly what they're going to go with.
Yeah.
Seems that it will be Elise.
TSM, they're doing their TSM thing right now. It's Elise is OddOne's #1 on his tier list of junglers. Vi is probably #2. Corki's #1 for WildTurtle. They're just picking those things into whatever OMG wants.
Wow, okay, it's a champion we've seen a lot of in European LCS. It is Aatrox getting locked in there alongside Zyra with Caitlyn.
Jungle Aatrox, lots of fights very early on in the game are to be expected. It could be a top lane, but the majority of Aatrox we've seen in China has been from the jungle.
We'll see how that works out. So, Team Solomid, what are they going to do? What is Reginald going to go with? Is that going to be Dyrus rumbling along the top? That's the question.
Well, the Shen is gone. Rumble has had a lot of success early. The only thing they have to do with this, though, is if Dyrus picks Rumble, it means Reggie has to pick something that has a fair bit of control for the team. Otherwise, there'll be nothing to keep them in the equalizer outside of a random cocoon or a crescendo that lands in. We've seen TSM run comps like this before, but it's a little shaky for them. I really want to see what Xpecial picks for Reggie. Yep. It's on now.
There is the Fizz. You told it out. You said it didn't exactly perform to the best at PAX.
Nope. That was 2 weeks ago, though. And they've had a lot of practice. They picked up Vi. WildTurtle picked up a Corki again. You're skeptical. I can see it in your face. I'm not saying he's going to do well. I'm saying it's been a while.
I have faith in Reggie. I have faith in Reggie. Don't worry. We'll see how it works out. But Kennen seemingly going to be the top pick for OMG. We'll see how that works out. It's going to be Gogoing selecting that one.
Still haven't locked it in, though. It would make sense in the context of this composition to really just lock down TSM since OMG really wants to go for a lot of fights. But we got to remember, you know, he did play a lot of that top lane Mundo. He likes those unconventional picks in the top lane, and Kennen is surprisingly conventional, even though it fits with OMG's team fight dive play style.
Yeah, it would fit with this comp with Aatrox going in there, popping the Stranglethorns, jumping on top of them with that Slicing Maelstrom. We'll see whether it is going to get locked in. Just a second to change it, so it seems that it will be selected. OMG is just simply using the time to sort out their runes and masteries. So, team comp setup, chat. What are we seeing overly?
All right, so we see OMG gets to do their thing. They get to dive in and go. Aatrox, Ahri, Kennen, going to be dive galore for OMG and attempting to win the lanes. TSM needs Reginald to perform on Fizz. If he gets back in this game, OMG is going to roll over them. He's not going to have time to turn into the hyper carry Fizz that a lot of teams like to go for. He can't lose lane, basically. But as we saw in the first game, Corki for WildTurtle. We didn't think he'd get it again. He got it again. He was a monster in that game against Gaming Gear EU, and I think we have to look for WildTurtle to excel, and we have to wait for Dyrus on Rumble to wait for OMG to dive in and then use the equalizer. That's TSM's goal here in this game.
So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Game 3 of the World Championships in Group A about to get underway. Team Solomid, they're 1-0 up already. They're going to be facing off against OMG, their first game of the championships. We've already seen SKTT1 picking up a win as well. So while the game loads up, let's check out what you guys at home, who they think is going to win. According to LollySports.com, 59% of you think that TSM will be taking their second game here at Worlds.
Yes, and all the analysts chose OMG. A couple of them were saying, yeah, TSM's got a decent chance, but none of them pulled the trigger for some reason. A lot of the fans have the 59% fan vote as well. We know China is not necessarily that well known to a lot of our English viewers here because, you know, let's be honest. It's a very isolated scene right there. Hopefully TSM knows what's up against them. They're going to be diving. They're going to be fighting fast. And honestly, like, I think this is a very close matchup as well.
Well, we know that TSM have done the research because Dyrus said they've got sheets.
They had the sheets.
They have sheets.
All you need is sheets.
Sheets and everything. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. You can see the teams are ready. The Rift is loaded. And we are about to get underway for Game 3 of the World Championships here live in Los Angeles. TSM, they're going to be the blue team on your screen. And red team will be OMG coming out of China as the number 2 seed. So both number 2 seeds facing off against each other. Of course, TSM being the number 2 seed for North America. Summoner's Rift is loaded, Jat, and we've seen some interesting T-level ones. We saw Lemon Dogs go in heavy, get the ward down.
And Chinese teams specifically fight a lot at level 1. They have no fear about where they go. Reginald is playing with fire right now.
I'm not sure whether he realizes. He sees that San is there, but doesn't realize that Aatrox was so close by on LoveLin.
WildTurtle's played a lot of Corki.
WildTurtle's played a lot of Corki. He's up against Cool in that mid lane at the moment, but that's not going to be where they're going because look at OMG going in.
Well, they went into the bush.
Yep.
There was no one there.
No one there.
They're going for an aggressive invade, though, and Reginald has ran away from that one. If anything, I feel like we're going to see a buff trade like we usually see here at the red buffs.
Yep, you can see TSM getting ready and waiting for it. We did see Lemon Dogs quickly backing off and going straight back towards that red buff. They are going to pass on towards that ward. They've already pinged it and said that something's here.
Yep.
It's either going to be a ward or a person. We're going to walk face first into them, which we've seen many times from Dyrus. But as it stands, TSM are going to walk themselves straight around there. Ward placements go out, and it will be a standard red buff trade. So,
yep.
Overall, team comps. We've seen so much of this team from TSM. The Rumble works very well in the past, the Fizz not so much.
And I want to see how much that first pick Sona plays into this game. Reginald's an amazing Ahri. He was undefeated on in the LCS. And they had the chance to pick it first. It would have just meant that they give Sona back to OMG. Maybe it's because Xpecial has played so much Sona and Thresh, he didn't have any trust in his third-tier support, which would have been Lulu. But they gave up so much for that. Cool versus Reginald is TSM's choice for Xpecial's pick. Let's hope it works out for them, because normally TSM is all about Reginald, and they need to make sure he's comfortable. He says he's comfortable on Fizz.
Well, Dyrus is going to be in that 2v1, or is it going to be a 3v1? Because LoveLin
This is the way
already
OMG
ready
plays.
to go.
Dyrus has the Doran shield, so he is a little bit more resilient to these turret dives, but that's a huge wave. Dyrus is level 1, and he has no help.
He's got no help at all. He's got nowhere to go. He's going to get the Ignite down. Just managed to flash out of the slam from LoveLin. Gets a good catch on bigpomelo. He's going to go down to the Ignite, but First Blood will go down. LoveLin's passive gets popped. Really well played by OMG.
And honestly, Dyrus played that as well as he could have, assuming he gets caught under the turret by 3 people. Looking at TSM, they're like, let's do the same thing, guys. Gogoing's not there. OMG excels at the 3v1 turret dive game, and that's what they've been playing there. They get a kill for nothing because Gogoing just decided not to be there.
Instead, TSM choose to try and stack. Remember, those towers are much stronger right now, so they're going to have to put a lot of pressure on towards that turret. Instead, they're just going to farm between the lanes and keep the pressure onto them from the minions.
It's actually kind of cute. Gogoing is turning himself into a jungle Kennen right now because that lane is not coming to him anytime soon. LoveLin doesn't need that jungle because he currently is returning to base from his successful turret dive. TSM will get this turret. It's just going to take a few seconds longer than usual.
Yeah, they're definitely going to work it down. Gogoing has already left that lane, so he knows the inevitable is already going to happen. This may free up some time for Dyrus. We'll see whether Dyrus switches up here. I expect TSM to switch it straight around. First turret of the game has gone down, though, and it's TSM that pick it up.
maybe Dyrus sticking around and forcing the dive from OMG is going to work out for TSM in the long run. Let's watch how well he holds now, because they're not going to dive him again. They don't have the Aatrox passive. Nice dodge by Reginald in mid.
Straight aggressive, playful tricksters and urgent strikes on towards Cool. Cool having to back away from this one. Pulls the ignite down, turns it back around. Tries to put some pressure back on towards Reginald, but just out of range.
So Reggie keeping up in farm with Ahri in the mid lane, which usually, even though Fizz is known as a counter pick to Ahri, not for the first 6 levels. Reginald doing a great job keeping up in farm against Cool, who is the star and has dominated all season in the Chinese LPL.
And TSM, they kept the pressure on that top lane. They thought, fine, if Gogoing is not here, let's keep going. And they do push through. You can see half the hit points gone off that top turret already. Aatrox close by in this jungle. The bottom lane is almost in those orbs. Cool having to throw out all the aggression. He's going to have to back away from this one. That bottom turret very, very low. But I feel Dyrus has defended it well enough.
Yeah, it's going to be close. Whether TSM can get back in time with Corki and Xpecial to save this turret. If they can, then the turret for kill trade is worth it, because they can swap the lanes back. Turtle is here. So is Xpecial. bigpomelo and Son pulling back away. That is going to hold at a 1 turret advantage for TSM.
Successful trade working out for TSM. Reginald backing off. Cool goes back as well. We'll see what they pick up as items. Second Doran's ring for Cool, as well as the boots and the pink ward, keeping track of Reginald, who himself does a pretty much identical back there. Can't afford the boots though, went for that pink ward instead.
So the turret is 750 gold. First blood is 400 for the killer, and then 50% of that in assist pool, so a 600 gold spike for OMG, which means with this 300 gold difference, OMG is substantially out-farming TSM in minions right now. Some of that has to do with the size of the wave that is reaching Dyrus' turret, but laning phase alone, the farm differential between Gogoing and Dyrus is pretty big. Dyrus has to play from behind and use his consistency here to not make this turn into a problem.
I'd be interested to see how much gold difference that is, because in terms of
baited in
minions, Reginald's going to try and back away, has to flash out there, does get slowed down, but it's not going to be enough, and he will get away from OMG's gank in that mid lane. Back to my point, what I was about to say is because he picked up a lot of those jungle minions, so that kind of misleading number.
Reggie is just deciding to continue to go in. It might cost him.
Why did he go back in? Who will know? Because LoveLin picks up the kill. I have no idea what he was doing there.
Being overconfident, for one. Cool pinged level 6 right as Reggie re-engaged, and it allowed him to turn it around with that Spirit Rush. Big misplay there by Reginald, going back in after his flash had already been burned.
Was not expecting that one, as you may have noticed. San's going to put the pressure. This turret will go down, and OMG going to keep the pressure. LoveLin's coming down to this bottom lane. He's coming on towards WildTurtle and Xpecial. They've already backed up enough, though, so they will be safe. And LoveLin actually nearly got closed in on himself. See, that red buff was left alone, and it's the odd one that clears out that wave.
And this is the early game onslaught that we've been come to see, that we've known from OMG in their games. They just never stop doing this. They will go like this until the end of the game, and TSM needs to set traps. They can't just be lackadaisical and walk into things.
It comes straight in there. Charm on towards Xpecial. He gets melted, and Cool finds himself another kill.
Things are going well for OMG right now. They've traded the turrets back. They're getting the kills roaming that they need to generate their action, and the big difference between OMG and some of the other Chinese teams is they get the kills around objectives, and then they go for the objectives oftentimes. OMG is opening up a chance at a dragon. Next time they gank, I'm expecting them to go there.
Well, aggression coming out from TSM, trying to keep them at bay there. San's been left alone in this bottom lane again, up against WildTurtle. We did see bigpomelo making his way up there. bigpomelo, as we mentioned, substitute coming into this tournament. Didn't even play in the qualifiers. Instead, it was Coma, but he seems to have won favor here at 3.11 since they arrived in the United States.
And OddOne doing a little bit of counter jungling, but there's a lot of people watching him.
You can see Gogoing coming around. He does manage to get the cocoon on him, flashes out a LoveLin. He's going to have Dyrus in support, and he's going to try and push in towards this one. Down the bottom, we see Reginald going aggressive on towards Cool as well. Good defensive moves from TSM.
Get the steal and an escape. That's a little bit chewed back for TSM in the battle for this game, but that doesn't mean WildTurtle is okay right now. It's Sona on Caitlyn has done a very good job at pushing with WildTurtle. Even though he was involved in the turret dive, it is still OMG's bottom lane that is out farming WildTurtle and Xpecial, and that is the lane that is actually doing the best for TSM. Everything else on OMG is still going their way.
Sen, with that Vampire Scepter, just gone back, got himself a pickaxe as well, so splitting his build right now. Of course, it does seem means he's going to return back to that bottom lane, keeping up identical farm at the moment, as you mentioned. And these two top lanes, really across all the lanes, apart from that mid lane, is where the only gap is starting to form, which is cool. Starting to tip ahead of Reginald just due to that kill he got early on.
It's not often that we say to TSM they need to slow the game down, but that needs to be their priority here against OMG. OMG wants to just try and find as many fights as possible, accelerate this game. They know they have a quick edge right now, and TSM needs to wait for the traps. Right now, Dyrus is in the top lane. They need to somehow stall this dragon from OMG so Dyrus can get down there and have an impact with his equalizer in that dragon fight.
Well, we do see Cool returning, got that blue buff. We'll see how much pressure he can turn on towards Reggie. Reggie himself is backing off right now. It's actually a fairly late blue buff pickup as well for Cool.
Yeah.
Gogoing in this top lane with that big golem being stolen away. He's keeping that farm going. This is what we talked about. So it seems that LoveLin is actually giving up a lot of his jungle to him. Look at it between the two.
That's exactly the way LoveLin plays. He only seems to look for fights and objectives. And if those fights and objectives don't come frequently, he's just going to be miserable in the game. But he's gotten a couple good ganks this game, so it's 22 farm to 52. But if we look at the gold, he's only down 150 to TheOddOne. And as a team, OMG is up 1.8k. So it is worth it in this game for him. But if the ganks continue to not come frequently and TheOddOne continues to farm, TSM will claw their way back.
And he's given a 500 gold advantage to Gogoing over Dyrus in his top lane as well. Gogoing actually, first item, Source Boots.
Yeah, so he is just... That's mid-game dragon fight to me. A lot of times you need the Zhonya's like quickly, but that's all part of a larger endgame build. Right now, he recognizes that like Dyrus and Reginald don't want to build any magic resistance at all because they're both damage dealers as well as far as the solo lane priorities go, and those Sorcerer Shoes are going to allow him to potentially spike one of them out in the duel.
Well, speaking of aggression, TSM are trying to set up their own gank, but it seems that OMG are moving for one of their own.
Reggie knows that Cool's been missing. OddOne sees their ward gets taken out, and this means Dyrus is actually going to roam down. Dyrus is very good at this back and forth game from top lane, almost always able to make a play in the dragon fight.
That's going to be coming down his face.
Oh, they caught him!
With Cool, and it's going to be bigpomelo going down. TheOddOne picks up the kill.
Crescendo seemed a little over the top there. It's now down for a potential dragon fight for TSM, but they do have a 4v5. Kennen and Rumble are both amazing in these mid-game dragon fights. TSM is trying this on top of a pink ward, and knowing OMG, we might see a fight.
I think they're going to go for this one. We've seen Gogoing is coming down here. LoveLin's ready and waiting to dive straight in there and try and go for that Dragon Steel. Whether he can get the smite down in time is another matter. Reggie's going to get focused on. Cool comes in there. Equalizer burnt out. LoveLin taken very low. Tries to go for the smite steal. Not going to happen. Passive pop there. There's going to be OMG in all sorts of trouble. Dyrus taken low. Slicing Maelstrom comes on through, but Gogoing hasn't got the damage. He's only got those Sorcerer's Boosts. Dyrus manages to pick up the kill, but Cool finishes another one off. It's a 2-for-2 trade. Can they get more out of it? OddOne goes on towards Sand. Dyrus taken so low. The charm lands in there. It's a double kill. Sand comes in. Now TheOddOne's in trouble. It's going to be a 4-for-2 trade. TheOddOne is not going to be able to get out of this one. Or is he?
No. Sand had the damage tick on him, and the assist timer did not wear off there for TheOddOne. And that was, you know, fighting without the crescendo here for TSM really hurt them. Xpecial would have had an opportunity to line up a 3-man crescendo there, and it just wasn't to be. LoveLin kind of zoned, and Reginald tried to zone out OMG as well, but then once Gogoing got in there, even though he died on Kennen, he got enough damage down that San and Cool were full health and could just chase down incredibly weak members of TSM. That was really just all about fighting without their crescendo. You're trading supports anyway, and it was essentially a 4v4.
And then TheOddOne went down quite simply in that top. Sam, the passive doing its work. So, 7-3 to OMG. They have the gold lead. They have the lead in terms of kills, of course. And it seems that the first dragon of the game will indeed be going to OMG.
Yep.
Because TSM can't counter this one.
OMG fighting around objectives and then getting the objectives down for themselves. They put themselves into a 4v5 because they knew TSM was in a bad spot, and then since they won the fight, they were able to get back to the dragon sooner. TSM wasn't going to fight that one again.
TheOddOne once again going in, stealing that red buff. Didn't see whether he actually managed to get it. He doesn't have the red buff on him, so he didn't get it. He successfully backed away, and the entire OMG team moves up there and secures that red buff.
They were hoping there was a fight up there. They wanted to find it because that's been working so far for OMG. 7 kills in 14 minutes, not the most insane clip, but still, it's because TSM's not looking for their own.
Look at the difference building between Cool and Reginald. That is a big CS gap. Gogoing trying to secure himself the golems at the top. TSM not going to go for it, but that is a big goal stand to develop in terms of creep score.
Yeah, Deathfire Grasp already for Ahri means trouble. Yes, WildTurtle got back with a little bit, 4,500 gold, but just the gold across the board. That's a 2,000 gold edge Cool has on Reginald right now. That's not the result you want when you give up Ahri and then counter pick it with Fizz. Reggie has to do better than that.
He has to do something. 3-0-2 for both carries for OMG right now. That is big, big trouble for TSM. We are in, of course, North America. They are effectively the home favorites, I guess you could say, despite the fact Cloud9, of course, were the #1 seed. TSM always have the fans behind them. And OMG are not looking shaky at all in their first game. There's no sign of nerves here from this team.
We really have to see now the rest of TSM's ability of carrying a game. Because WildTurtle on Corki and Dyrus on Rumble are the people who have to get TSM back in this one. Reginald is too far behind to have an impact right now on Fizz. And in Game 1, when TSM had the resounding victory against Gaming Gear, it was because of WildTurtle getting so many kills on Corki and Dyrus having such a large impact in that game on Shen. It has to be that way again, and OMG is far more aggressive right now, not really allowing TSM the ability to make plays.
Well, that Trinity Force has been completed by WildTurtle. We'll see what sort of impact it has. They're going in towards Cool. They're pinged out towards him. Does manage to land the charm on the odd one, but the cocoon came through. WildTurtle goes in, goes aggressive. Doesn't land enough on Cool, and he does manage to back off.
And Cool landed a whole bunch back onto the odd one, too. If there wasn't backup for TSM, that would have been a very dead odd one. You can see now Reggie's trying to split push off in that side lane as Fizz just the sheen. He can't even push turrets very quickly if he were to get the lane to that spot. It means OMG looking to pounce.
Yeah, you can see they're using their advantage. Goes in, gets that turret successfully, and that's the second outer turret of the game for OMG. No problem coming in to take that one down.
So OMG, 2 outer turrets. They're going to look for a third fairly quickly. The Dragon isn't necessarily up immediately, so they have time to roam kind of where they want. Reginald isn't doing... he isn't creating any pressure on the map right now in the bottom lane, so it's giving OMG free reign of wherever they want to go next to make a play. I'm expecting they're probably going to send someone down to clear off that wave that Reginald's finally pushed in, and then they're going to go for the third turn of the game, probably in top lane.
A lot of respect, I feel, from Gogoing to go for that Negatron Cloak as his second item up against Dyrus. He's obviously feeling that, you know, this could go against me, so he's just feeling he can just keep on holding that lane.
And here's another thing about that Negatron Cloak early, is Corki does a lot of magic damage with his Phosphorus Bomb and his missiles. So getting that doesn't just stop double AP, it's almost like a bit of a triple AP composition coming from TSM when you combine the OddOne's Elise damage with the Sorcerer's Shoes and the magic damage that can be pumped out from Corki.
Well, that Negatron Cloak turns into an Abyssal Scepter on that back. Now, it should well spell trouble for Dyrus. Dyrus keeping up in terms of farm. As I mentioned earlier on, Gogoing, of course, did pick up a lot of jungle minions, so a little bit misleading. It was about a 500 gold lead he had earlier on. That may well have snowballed a little bit towards his favor, but as it is in the mid lane, where is LoveLin doing? He's looking for kills.
Look out. He wants to fight, as usual. Still only 46 farm and level 8, 17 minutes into the game. He is only there for the success of others. That's the reason Cool and Gogoing are farmed right now, but he's going to be a bit of a non-factor on Aatrox. It's really all about Cool, Gogoing, and Sona at this point.
Actually the same level as the supports right now, but then again, the OddOne's only at level 9. He's been just as much trying to keep distracted, been trying to get in to get that red buff. They can see they're looking for another gank. LoveLin may walk into this one. Nope, goes straight back to his reds. Not going to fall for that Tribush gank. Instead, we do see, well, ward placements were put down from bigpomelo. They were pushing heavily on that bottom lane earlier on. The Jews chose not to go that way. Infinity Edge has been completed by Sand now, up against obviously the Triforce of WildTurtle. Still probably give the damage to WildTurtle now, though.
Yeah, Corki's 20 minutes in, like, his 20 minutes damage in this game is very high. Corki lives for just the Triforce. He doesn't necessarily multiply that great off of other stats. You know, we said so much physical damage and magic damage means the armor penetration isn't always great. He's got low base attack speed. So the Triforce is really all he's about.
This is a level 8 going all in on Dyrus at level 11.
He's got backup,
and he's
though.
already got backup now. Gogoing comes around. Cool is there as well. The charm's going to come on through. The damage is being layered down. LoveLin tries to back away. Gogoing is the one that picks up the kill with the slicing maelstrom.
And OMG commits so much into taking down Dyrus, but the rest of the map doesn't have anything going on. OMG was allowed to commit that kill. Dyrus did a great job of avoiding it for a little while, but nothing else is happening for TSM. That was a brilliant move by OMG, getting it down.
WildTurtle Valkyrieing away from that Stranglethorn. So you can see the crescendo on towards bigpomelo, but San is turning this one around on his head. WildTurtle does get that kill. That's going to be the passive. bigpomelo on towards Xpecial, and this is a 1-for-1. We talked about the power. It is very, very close.
Oh, OddOne's there.
He doesn't have ace in the hole, and the OddOne pounces to finish off the kill.
Right before San's flash took him over the wall as well, he got the damage down, and the timing with the Dragon is extremely beneficial for TSM. That was WildTurtle and Xpecial trying to use their mechanics to outplay San and bigpomelo right there. Flashing in, getting crescendos, blocking ace in the hole. Very well played duel down there.
But the turret has gone down in top.
Yep.
So, after all that fighting, an objective has been gained once again for OMG. Dragon up. The rest of OMG start to gather. They're moving into position for the next objective.
And we're already 20 minutes in, which means we're 66% of the way through an average OMG game, which means we're going to see a lot of action, I feel like, in the next 20 minutes. They have that 4,000 gold edge. They know TSM just went back to base to shop. They should have went back. TSM should have went back well before now to heal up for this next fight. OMG's looking to kill Xpecial.
Yeah, Xpecial there on top of that ward. Immediately bigpomelo puts a ward back down there. LoveLin is just off the side. We know how much he's could dive on towards Xpecial. Got support, comes in, gets himself another ward down with the OddOne. The ward battle continues. But more importantly, we were interested in this team fight. San wasn't there, which is why they didn't go aggressive. He's just getting himself that red buff and the Wraith. He's going to come around and join the party soon, and that means TSM are going to have to fight the way for this Dragon.
And these teams might be waiting on their supports' ultimates right now, like Xpecial's Crescendo as well as the Stranglethorn's on there. But OMG, never mind, they don't wait!
Stranglethorn's root goes down, grasping roots. Reginald taking low. LoveLin passive popped once again, but it's Dyrus being focused. Cool gets him the kill. Slicing maelstrom comes on through. Xpecial, WildTurtle all locked up at the back there. Then Gogoing just backs away, takes down WildTurtle. Reginald tries to slide on through, but he just simply gives another kill to Cool. And that was a 3-4 for 1 for OMG.
Another crisp fight there by OMG. They forced a team fight when TSM wasn't ready, and now they're trying to get a Dragon. OddOne wants to steal this, but he is way in over his head.
Oh, and there's low from LoveLin, just catching the tail end of the OddOne. I don't believe he's going to be able to escape from this one. Repels away to his tower. LoveLin's going to continue chasing. There is no tower there to help him out. Cool is going to collapse in towards him. Gets away from the charm. San tries the 90 caliber net to collapse in towards him. He may have just bought himself time. Woo, Pilt over Peacemaker, not quite enough to take him down.
Even so, that is not what TSM wanted. It's exactly what OMG wanted, though, because they got a team fight around an objective, and then they were able to take down the objective once again for them. It's going to do huge things for their overall item builds. It means LoveLin can still hold his own. He's got an ore item now for ages. He doesn't need to do much else on top of that because the rest of OMG is just destroying TSM in these team fights.
And we go all the way back to that first pick. TSM talked about the sheets, the research they had done. They locked in that Sona. Did they realize that the support had changed to bigpomelo from Coma? This would have been announced to them, they would have known it, but did they research it enough? Because at 046 for Xpecial compared to a 603, a 503 Coma, this is a big, big choice for that first pick.
And at the end of the day, TSM chose Sona over Ahri, and they opted into this Ahri Fizz matchup. It is not come close to working out right now. Cool looks completely at home. He's very relaxed, playing it cool, one would say. DFG, Abyssal Scepter, he's just ripping apart TSM, and that Abyssal Scepter as well. You can see how actually both Kennen and Ahri have went for it. They might actually go for a dive here, but that's also for offensive and defensive purposes. You wouldn't think the double ores would be necessary, but it helps him live. Look out!
The OddOne caught out and locked up. There was no doubt about that one. The kill even going to LoveLin, which is going to help out those levels. He was under-leveled. He's caught out. Dyrus is going to come around the side. Passive not available, and LoveLin will go down. Good counter.
Jungler for the jungler, and TSM trying to mount a counterattack. The blue buff is actually on WildTurtle for an extended missile siege, and this is a very large gold lead for a fight that TSM may be looking for. It's a dangerous proposition. They know the Ahri ultimate is down, and they might look to siege down this turret.
See if they can land any shots on towards Cool, dodging out from those big rockets coming out from WildTurtle. The big bomb's not managing to land through. The odd one is back up. LoveLin will be up shortly. And they are back in towards a siege and holding off this mid lane.
It's OMG that's now going to be able to turn the tables a little bit and kind of siege down. If they land a charm from Cool, they can generally combo that into a Stranglethorns and just probably burst down someone from TSM. The gold lead really speaks in the items right now. It's an Infinity Edge and a Phantom Dancer for San. WildTurtle's Corki, while it has been effective and farmed well, isn't enough to take on the game alone. Dyrus's equalizers haven't been able to catch OMG in any positions because OMG just jumps right over top of it or dashes through. And the Fizz versus Ahri matchup, we talked about that.
Yeah, and the problem is that TSM, while they've got 7 kills, 3 of them are on the odd one. They're not on towards WildTurtle, whereas you look at OMG, Cool on 504, San on 416, both the important carries that you need all that damage on have been getting those kills. They've been gifting them the kills, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I'd say especially for OMG's team comp, the kills are exactly how they want them. You want your mid on Ahri to be the most farmed, second is 80 carry, and then you want Kennen third so he still has enough power to go in there with the Slicing Maelstrom. 7,500 gold, and objective focus is going to be coming out from OMG right now. TSM has already put a few wards around the Baron area. OMG's going to want to be going in there with some pink wards or an oracles. They actually don't have that many pink wards. They're going to have to clean this with oracles, which they feel safe doing just because they have such a big lead.
So OMG clear out those wards around the Baron area. You know what? For the speed and aggressiveness that they had early on, they've definitely slowed the pace down here. And this may suit TSM. This may actually give them that respite that you said they needed. You can see LoveLin, though. He's off on his own. He needed those levels, and he's getting those levels now. You can see he's got himself up to level 11, caught back up with the odd one in terms of leveling. Cool, meanwhile, he's off down that side, continuing that massive farm advantage he's got over Reginald. 244 CS to 160. That goal is, look at that. Oh, it's a goal. It's nearly 4,000 between the AP mids.
That is not what you need if you're TSM right now. Having a 4,000 gold advantage and 2,000 just in the bank right now for Cool means it's not even a matchup right now. It is just Cool chasing down Reginald and doing what he wants. Reginald cannot make an impact in this game. 26 minutes, still no Lich Bane. He rushed his Zani's Hourglass, which build path-wise I do not disagree with, but he's this far behind and still with no real threat on Fizz. Fizz, at this point, the game would have to go 40 minutes before Reginald can have a large impact, and that's not what an OMG game does.
Well, OMG setting themselves up for a pretty easy inner turret take here. The moment TSM trying to collapse around it, finally WildTurtle comes in with those bombs to clear out that minion wave, but a good chunk of health taken off that turret, already below half. And OMG just back around and try and create another pressure point.
One thing about playing against Corki is Corki's turret defense is extraordinary. Spamming his missile barrage over and over again, WildTurtle can keep at least the turret safe, but that doesn't mean TSM is safe.
No, it doesn't, because LoveLin comes leaping across there. Actually caught with the cocoon. LoveLin will go down. Passive is available. San gets focused. WildTurtle on San just up the top there. Reginald's going to get caught out there. Ace in the hole coming back on through, but buried out. San has to get away from this one. This could turn around into towards TSM's favourite if they find the right targets. But Cool is there once again and gets on towards the odd one. WildTurtle caught out the side there. He's been spotted. Ace in the hole comes through. Gets blocked off nicely by Xpecial, but Cool once again comes in. Gets himself a double. WildTurtle trying to back away. San doesn't want to get too close, but Cool is going to come in. He's got his number. He's got everything available to him. Sets himself up. WildTurtle desperately trying to get away. There's no Spirit Rush for Cool, so he may just be able to zone him, get enough time, enough seconds to get away from it. They don't care. They've gone for Baron.
They're actually a little low for getting Baron. So they're just going to have to take this fight as is. WildTurtle, can he get it?
Can he get it? Can he get it? He's got away. Nicely done from WildTurtle. Nevertheless, it's a small victory for TSM because it's 17-7 in kills.
Let's not forget they gave up 3 kills there and got nothing in return, as well as burning pretty much all of their major cooldowns. So OMG finding the right fight once again. Even though it seemed like TSM had caught an edge, they were not able to finish off anyone from OMG in that fight. And the items just continue to grow for OMG. Their team fighting, we really get to see how much they do it, because they're team fighting extremely well. Even though it seems messy, they seem to make the right decisions in the team fights themselves.
Oh, they're going to catch on towards bigpomelo. It just managed to get the ultimate down, Dyrus, but again, not enough damage ticking from that ignite to finish him off. Will it buy them time for this dragon? I'm not too sure. Dyrus is going to go back in towards LoveLin. LoveLin 2 levels lower than he is, but LoveLin is not backing away from this one. DFG comes out. Dyrus just gets melted straight away. Reginald caught out. Has to use that Zonya's Hourglass. LoveLin's going to lock back in towards him. Catches the slow on towards him. It's another double kill for Cool.
I gotta say, LoveLin's shots with that slow from Aatrox are right on point. That skill shot gets smaller the farther it goes away, but he's landed almost every single one of them. TSM cannot escape the chase of OMG. Sad is just able to take this dragon all by his lonesome as they're going for another objective. OMG just has no cares right now.
No cares. They go straight to Baron from Dragon after double kills in that mid lane. They realize they have a huge advantage and they are dealing with it very nicely. That's going to be a 10,000 gold lead for OMG. 2 of 2 dragons so far, and I'm sure this is going to be the first Baron of the game. We do see Xpecial and WildTurtle just down the bottom, and TheOddOne is close by, but I'm not sure he's got enough. He's going to have to go so deep to try and land this one. He wants to get in, get the smite down. He gets it! He gets the smite down for TSM. Well, it was a sacrifice, but it was worth it.
You cannot let a team that's that far behind get a smite steal, but they're going to try to chase him down for extra kills.
Yep.
They just get the odd one.
Ace in the hole comes out, not going to land it, but again, it was another kill for Cool. Let's not take that away. He is now 10-0-5 on that Ahri.
And we'll see what OMG does with this, because the Baron is gone, so they're trying to make something happen, almost to make up for their blunder right there. The minion wave is gone, however, and TSM can charge out. They have Baron.
Equalizer was used. Reginald wants to get in there. He needs to try and get something going because he's 1-5-1 right now. And we talked about how important Reggie is for TSM to get that game going. We need the opposition, the enemy, other players to actually get rolling, to start carrying the game. WildTurtle yet to pick up too many kills. Dyrus, he's trying to create things. He's throwing down that ulti. He's landing it actually very well. But they just don't have the follow-up.
No, they just do not have the damage. I want to talk a bit more about that Baron steal, though, because that was something that was completely avoidable by OMG. They knew the odd one was coming in. He was all by himself, repelling in, and then just jumping in for a smite. If OMG just stopped damage on the Baron, killed the odd one, which half the team did, and half the team didn't stop damage, that's why the odd one went in for the steal. But OMG will fight anyway. Baroned up TSM.
LoveLin goes in. He had his passive available, so why the hell not? He's quite happy to go in suicidal, maybe, if he does manage to get that down. There is a ward. Oh, Charm lands on towards Xpecial and just gets dropped straight there. bigpomelo actually picking up the kill with one of his plants. Reginald, again, unable to get himself a kill.
That may stop that push for TSM. They seemed like they were confident because they have a Baron buff and they want to go in on OMG. They still haven't gotten that mid turret. Reginald actually just used his Zonyas in the middle of the lane, and this just means OMG can go in.
Stranglethorns catches out, manages to throw the equalizer down, but he's ticking away, and that's going to be another kill for Cool as he flashes away. Sand, meanwhile, takes down Reginald at the top. The Ignite might be enough to finish off the damage. WildTurtle comes in. He wants to get damage down on Sand. He will get damage down on Sand. He's going to get bigpomelo as well. It's a double kill for WildTurtle, but overall, it's a 2-for-2 trade.
That's still fantastic if you consider the overall momentum of the game for TSM. The bounties on OMG are much larger, and TSM had so many people from OMG low in that fight that they can continue this push on for a little bit.
So despite the pressure, you can see they take the turret, they put a lot of pressure on towards that inner mid turret. Gogoing chases in there, wants to get on towards the odd one. WildTurtle, sneaky, taking away that red buff, is a very dangerous play because Gogoing is coming behind him.
Yeah, he gets it, but yep, he's free.
Valkyrie in towards that Baron pit. Of course, they already had the Baron. So, gold-wise, well, they've actually stolen themselves a little bit back there. They're back down to 8,000. Let's check out that crazy fight.
Yeah, so the Zonyas was used early by Reggie, but then the Charm did not combo. And before this fight, Cool is actually out of mana, which was a huge boon for TSM. He can use a Spirit Rush, but that's all he had left. And the rest of this fight was really just about TSM trying to chase down the rest of OMG. Sant was trying to stick in there, but because the Cocoon landed from the odd one, it allowed WildTurtle enough time to just crush them down. Like, WildTurtle is doing a lot of damage on Corki, and if Cool is out of mana, which, by the way, isn't going to happen again, TSM can take team fights like that. But that was a fight without the 11-kill Ahri having an impact.
And while WildTurtle, he bullied Cool away from that fight down the bottom, I feel if he'd have been up the top there when they were focusing Reggie, he could have picked up quite a few kills. They were grouped up heavily on low hit points. Phosphorus Bomb could have done a big bit of damage there.
WildTurtle he's hit his items, like 304 farm. This is his game to try and come back in. That Shark's not doing much. unless you're going to go in with it. And now this just means OMG has a bit of confidence. Maybe it's a trap, but OMG doesn't care.
Oh, Cool is going to get taken low. WildTurtle trying to put the damage down. Equalizer.
They killed him!
Dyrus manages to get cooled down. bigpomelo now going to get focused. Gogoing tries to turn it. Puts that Sonya's hourglass down. Is the ultimate going to be enough? Reginald comes in. He gets himself bigpomelo down. Dyrus is getting on towards Gogoing. He's going to go down. TheOddOne picks it up. Xpecial with a crescendo. They don't have the follow-up. And OMG are going to turn this back around. Ace in the hole comes in from Sand. He takes down Dyrus. And TSM, while they landed a lot of kills, they still went 4 for 3.
This game has become a bloodbath now. The biggest fight we have seen. Watch how Cool actually goes down to WildTurtle at the start, which honestly gives WildTurtle a bit of overconfidence. He sniped him with that missile, but then Turtle Valk flashes in to a Kennen. Bad idea. San is on the side, and that's one of the big reasons he was able to clean up the rest of this fight. Reginald tried to dive in, but the damage wasn't focused onto the 80 carry of OMG. It allows Caitlyn to clean up. The shock or the crescendo is a bit late because everyone else on TSM is dead.
San manages to clear out the turret. He inhibits the turret, the first one of the game, and he put that trap under Reggie when he slid in Zonya's hourglass. Like, yeah, I'm got you after this one. No way around it. Timers are up there. You can see Dragon and Baron. They're going to be coming up shortly, but San is motoring away. LoveLin getting focused on by WildTurtle here, putting a lot of damage down on towards him. WildTurtle is going to continue chasing. Steps on that trap, though. bigpomelo stays in that bush, ready and waiting to counter him. Aggressive stuff from both of these teams. 27 kills to 12 so far, 35 minutes in.
This game has been all OMG. But if Cool dies in teamfights or engages in teamfights where he was low on mana, it is leaving the door open for TSM to come back into the game. Reginald on Fizz now, since he has Zonya's Hourglass and Lichbane, is a real threat despite his 2-7 score and the fact that he's down 150 farm to Cool. You can't compare them necessarily because Cool is clearly much greater, but at least Reginald is a legitimate damage dealer. Sun and Cool are obviously the big priorities for TSM, but if they can catch them in these fights, in these very chaotic fights, TSM still has a chance in this game because 10,000 gold is a huge amount, but 35 minutes into the game, it's a whole lot less.
TSM have managed to land that cocoon on LoveLin. They're coming around the side, actually OMG pushing down. Remember, there's no tower on that inhibitor turret, and TSM out of position here. OMG realize it. They are going to drive on through in towards that middle lane, try and catch them out the side. bigpomelo running interference, throwing down those plants. TSM going to come around the back side of them here.
This is so dangerous for TSM. They are basically giving up their inhibitor for a chance at a fight against a team who loves to fight. OMG trapped now inside the base. Something has to happen. The poke is going down. Someone's got to initiate here.
Xpecial has that crescendo available. No flash though, so he's going to have to land it perfectly. And TSM, well, they're in between OMG. They really want to poke it down. LoveLin is being poked slowly. Those rockets are doing work from WildTurtle, but OMG choose the right path, and they just head off to the left-hand side. Safety.
TSM lost their inhibitor in that. They did not want to engage in OMG without a big advantage, and now TSM's hoping something happens. Cool. Spirit Rush down, going in.
Spirit Rush comes across. He doesn't actually manage to pop Xpecial, so that's going to be his ultimate down, and TSM realize they may have an advantage. They're going to push for that turret.
There is a lot of hesitation from both teams right now, and OMG is normally very decisive. This could be a turn for TSM, and this no Spirit Rush, Cool's 11 kills are a lot less impactful.
Remember, that equalizer from Dyrus could be impactful. They do catch on towards LoveLin. Dyrus is going to keep on chasing down. Does manage to land that equalizer across most of OMG, but they haven't got enough damage. He doesn't want to follow it up. Instead, they give him away. They got the turret from it, though.
Equalizer does not really hit, and there was no attempt for TSM or ability to follow up. They're now actually trying to clear with oracles despite not having an equalizer. There is still no Spirit Rush, but this is an immensely risky move by TSM. This is dangerous.
No equalizer against the slicing Maelstrom. This is crazy, crazy play. Stranglethorns goes down. They managed to avoid it. And TSM back away from that Baron, trying to force some tanking, but they have taken a lot of damage from that Baron already. Gogoing, taking a lot of damage. OMG are low.
Cool Spirit Rush is up in 3 seconds. He is low on mana, however, which happened in another fight TSM fought. These teams are honestly pretty close right now.
Gonna go in, but he goes straight into a crescendo. Oh, Gogoing gets taken down. OMG are gonna get low. LoveLin taken low as well, but they can see the Spirit Rush coming through. bigpomelo comes across the side. Sand manages to get the damage down. WildTurtle is still alive in the back. Now he's taken down. Dyrus is going to be the last man standing. And OMG with a triple kill for Sand. Take them down 5-2.
San was untouched in that fight. Cool distracted so many members of TSM, and then Gogoing and LoveLin were just dogpiling on top of WildTurtle. Nothing was to stop the full item 80 carry Caitlyn Sad from ripping through, and that's going to be the team fight that finally ends the game for OMG.
You can see the Nexus turrets, they're getting broken down. It's going to be 38 minutes, 49 seconds. It's a very long game for OMG in terms of averages, but it seems that OMG will be taking down TSM in game 1 of their match. And you can see that's going to take TSM to 1-1. A great start for OMG.
So we wondered coming in if OMG or the Korean teams would have slow starts because they haven't been out of the country. It's their first time playing here in North America. That was not a slow start from OMG. It was a slow finish, but they definitely finished off TSM with that. 11 kills for Cool, 11 kills for San. Really just on-point team fighting throughout the game for OMG. They're looking strong.
And my question is, you know, we do as much research on these teams as effectively the team should be doing more. I guess they shouldn't have been seeing it way more in depth than we'd be looking at it. We knew what was coming from OMG. Did TSM?
Yeah. Once again, everyone's going to be questioning that Fizz pick from Reginald right here because Reginald has had so much success on Ahri. He knows better than anyone how strong Ahri is and what an impact she can have on a game, and they gave it up. They chose Sona instead. And obviously, in a game where your team dies a lot and you're losing, if you're trying to make plays on a support, it doesn't work out. But 0-8 and 11 for a first pick Sona when you're giving up Ahri has to be questioned.
And Sona was a champion. The reason we're harping on about this point is Sona was a champion that was picked 6 times by OMG, but it was by Coma. They replaced Coma last night as substitute, and bigpomelo stepped in. The teams would have known this. They'll be aware of it. Did they research the change?
It's a really tricky choice there right now for these guys, but that's the state of the game right now for TSM. They're 1-1. They effectively need to be able, if we're assuming that SK Telecom is the strongest team and people are expecting them to get out, these are all games TSM has to win, and these games OMG has to win as well.
Well, it is a very strong performance. So, Jat, we've seen all 5 teams now. How do we rank them out there? Because OMG, we know they're going to be crazy aggressive. Would that work against SKTT1?
Oh, that's going to be another game.
Juicy
to
game,
watch.
I
That's
believe,
a juicy
to watch
game
that
as
one.
well. All of these, it's the World Championships. All these games are a little bit exciting, but really...
That is today, by the way. There's so many games today,
yeah,
guys.
it's coming up.
It's coming up
Yeah.
soon.
So the aggression that OMG shows early in the game actually kind of plays interestingly into SKT1 because Lemon Dogs, who's not typically a hyper-aggressive team, was able to get a lead on SK Telecom, but then they were able to pull it back so much more strongly. I've seen SKT actually be down 3,000, 4,000 gold sometimes in Champions, and they were still able to come back in those games. And OMG, even though they are objective-focused, I don't know if they're that good at smelling out base. I mean, that was a 32-kill game for them alone. They gave up 14 themselves. Like, these are bloodbaths, and I feel like it's dangerous or difficult to go into a bloodbath with a team who controls map vision as well as SK Telecom.
Yeah, 46 kills in total in just under 40 minutes, so a pretty aggressive game. Overall, I'm seeing Game & Gear, they were the underdogs coming into this one, and now it seems that they definitely are. You've seen all the teams play. TSM obviously beat Game & Gear early on. TSM, I wouldn't say got manhandled by OMG, but they definitely got a good clip around the ear.
They came back a little bit at the end, but that was often due to just OMG's being a little bit over-aggressive. And when you get 32 kills in 38 minutes, you're going to be a little over-aggressive sometimes.
Yeah.
OMG was never in like the real danger of losing that game. They had a couple miscues, but because they had such an early lead at the start of the game and were forcing so many team fights, I'd say that was actually a fairly resounding victory by OMG. So TSM has to kind of regroup here. There's plenty of games left for them.
And from a player that used to be an ex-jungler way back with Dignitas, what are you seeing from the junglers? We've seen Bengi playing, we've seen the craziness of LoveLin there. Obviously the odd one with his smite steals. He played very well in game 1 as well. What are we seeing from these guys? Alunir trying to lead from the jungle. Didn't really work out for him.
I'm actually kind of noticing 3 different styles, and it's a little bit handled by the region that you're in. Because American junglers, and we'll see this more when we get to the quarterfinals with Meteos, are actually farming more than all the other regions. They're trying to do a little bit of ganking, but mainly farming. You look at the Korean junglers, they're a mix, mainly focused around vision control and overall game pressure, where Bengi will have a ton of wards and a few ganks. And then you have, at the total other end of the spectrum, LoveLin and the Chinese junglers, who have almost no farm and do nothing but fight and gank.
Well, if those kills work, they do manage to get themselves the levels. So, we're going to take a quick break, ladies and gentlemen, but when we return, our experts at the analysis desk will be breaking down what has happened so far in Group A and make their predictions for the next 2 games. Up first, it's going to be the Lemon